The mission of the Franciscan Foundation for the Holy Land is to stem the Christian exodus from that region. Based on statistics, Christians are leaving about 500 Christian families per year. And most church officials say that if nothing is done to stem this exodus, then within 70 to 80 years, Christianity could easily disappear from the very place where Christ founded the church. And so the Franciscan Foundation has taken up that challenge to at least stem the exodus. The philosophy of the Franciscan Foundation for the Holy Land basically revolves around the spirituality of our founder, St. Francis of Assisi. St. Francis of Assisi was a man who had a great desire to help the poor, the needy, the downtrodden, the disadvantaged. He was also a man who wanted to promote peace, who wanted to promote reconciliation among peoples. And so from that spirituality, we are involved, the Franciscan Foundation, in our present quest of making sure that these Christians in the Holy Land stay in the Holy Land.
For more than 1,200 years, Christians have lived and worked in the Holy Land of Jerusalem. But that population has steadily dwindled throughout the years, due in part to the manner in which these Christians are being treated. After years of struggling, trying to survive, and carve out a life for themselves, many are leaving the Holy Land in what can only be described as an exodus, creating a crisis for Christians in the Holy Land.
There are about 9 million people living in Israel proper in the territories. Out of that number, there are 5 million of the Jewish faith, there are 3.9 of the Muslim faith, and Christians number only 150,000 and going down. Most church officials are saying that if nothing is done to stem this Christian exodus, then within 60 years, Christianity could easily disappear from the very place where Christ founded the church.
Father Vasco is the president of the Franciscan Foundation for the Holy Land, an organization created in 1994 to provide a worldwide voice for Christians living in Israel. Through a combination of prayers, funding, and action, the foundation is continually safeguarding the Christian presence in the Holy Land.
Based upon the fact that the Franciscan Foundation realizes that our heritage as Christians comes from Jerusalem, comes from Bethlehem, comes from Israel, we have a stake in that land. This is where the church began. This is where Christ founded the church. As priests, as Catholic priests, as fellow other Christians around the world, we want to make sure that we have a living, worshiping community in that land. This is where our roots come from.
Because there is a constant need for housing, jobs, and education, the foundation focuses mainly on giving people the basic necessities so they can remain in the Holy Land with their families.
This is not a Catholic problem. It's a Christian problem. Other problems that are facing our Christians really revolve around the concept of being a minority within a minority. And when you have that type of a situation, there tends to be discrimination. Well, the Franciscan Foundation, in their attempt to stem the Christian exodus for the last 11 years, have been principally going to the United States for two reasons: to raise awareness among Christians across the board in this country about the Christian exodus, and secondly, to raise funding for programs and projects which will help the young Christians to remain in the Holy Land. They have many, many challenges. It's trying to come to terms with being treated as second-class citizens when they're trying to cross over into Jerusalem at checkpoints. It's a challenge of trying to come to terms with attempting to attend religious services during Holy Week in Jerusalem, or trying to get to a better hospital in Jerusalem, or attempting to get to their jobs in Jerusalem. So between giving them college scholarships, them getting jobs, and now building housing for them, they are completely so thankful for that gift of support that they have received from the Christians in the United States. And they're staying.
For more information, contact the Franciscan Foundation for the Holy Land and find out how you can help the Christian voice in Israel be heard.
After 10 years of hard work, we have seen some real fruits of our endeavors. I'm very happy to tell you that as far as college scholarships, 65% of the last 5 graduating classes of Christian Palestinians now have jobs in their professional fields. They are lawyers, they are pharmacists, they are dentists, they are engineers, accountants, and business people. And so these young people who were thinking of leaving the Holy Land are now staying in the Holy Land. We've been very successful in the construction area. We have already finished phase 1, where 400 apartment units were built for these young Christians. We have another phase 2 where we're building an additional 400 apartment units in Jericho and Jerusalem. And because these young people now have a place to live, they have decided to remain in the Holy Land and not to leave. The future plans for the Franciscan Foundation is to expand our scholarship program, to expand our housing program, to expand our business committee programs, and by these programs we will be able to give motivation and incentives for these young people who participate in these programs to remain in the Holy Land. Knowing what we now know, we cannot just simply let these guardians of Christianity disappear. They have been here for the last 2,000 years. They've been struggling. And if we don't have a sense of who we are as Christians, if we don't have a sense of our religious roots and heritage, then who and what are we? The church is crumbling, the Christian church is falling down, and we need to rebuild it. And who's going to rebuild it? It's only going to be us, the Christians, to rebuild our church in the Holy Land. The Christophers used to say, it only takes one candle to light the darkness. Will our Christians be that candle to light the darkness for our Christians in the Holy Land? I indeed hope so.